Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Automated, our podcast that is so weekly that I nearly forgot the name of it when I just did my introduction. I, of course, am Stefan and CEO and co-founder of Polymath Robotics. Sitting so far away from me is a gentleman wearing his automated t-shirt before he goes and speaks on a panel for something else. Strange
gotta do the plug.
Strange sir, who are you?
I am currently amazed that it's been like 2 months since we've done this episode.
Similar to how I know it's time to get a haircut when people start telling me I look like Seth Rogen versus Zach Galifianakis. I start to know it's a good time for us to do another podcast when we have multiple random people say, "Hey, when are you releasing another podcast? You sons of jerks." Now sitting in between us, of course, is Fred. Fred, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a fan of the podcast. My name is Fred Parietti, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Multiply Labs.
And for those of us who don't know Multiply Labs, Fred, what do you guys do?
We develop robotic systems to manufacture advanced pharmaceutical products, like, for example, cell and gene therapies.
So legal pharmaceuticals, not the self-guided submarines or that sort of thing. Not those robots.
I think those are the pharmaceutical robots we all need.
Yeah, those are probably the most rapidly growing market that nobody knows anything about.
We were just having a lunch debate over when the first robbery will be committed by a robot.
Yeah. And okay, listeners, if you want to get involved, put either under YouTube or Spotify, whatever, put a comment, your bet on the year where the first robot-mediated robbery will take place. Like somebody either teleoping a robot or fully autonomous, I don't care. But like robot comes and tries to rob a drugstore.
Now, can there be a robot physically assisting the robber? Like, can they be in the same place? Or is it just like robot?
Just robot.
Okay.
Just robot.
All right. And if you're a really inspired listener of the podcast, commit it.
That's one way to get into the history books, right? Like first robot crime. Now
that we're entirely off the rails.
Sorry, coming back to actual business. What does your company do?
So we're really excited to have Fred here, and we'll do the game as well towards the end of us all chatting. But to start off with, Fred, so you gave the middle version. Is it fair to say the one sentence version of Multiply is robots for pills? Robots for making pills.
It was
not for taking pills.
It was that for the first maybe 2 or 3 years of the company. Now the more correct one-liner would be robots to make cells.
Make cells.
Like biological cells.
Yes, cells as drugs.
Okay, I'm fascinated. My mother was a cell biologist her entire career. Like, this is deeply
that's good. My mom is a biologist as well.
So is this like when one robot loves another robot, they like combine cells, or
because there's a term robot like manufacturing cell, but that's not what you're talking about.
It's this is a biological cell.
Cell. This is cell manufacturing.
Right, that's right. Cell squared. No, tell us more. How does this work?
And I'm a mechanical engineer. So if there's any biologist, in the audience. I might be a little inaccurate, but substantially.
Sorry, mom, times 2.
Sorry, moms. And so it's a new frontier of medicine where instead of giving people chemicals, so traditionally those are called small molecule drugs, so chemicals you can synthesize, you can actually give them essentially genetically engineered cells, typically their own cells. Modified to have a new receptor, right? To recognize, an illness, to find and destroy, for example, cancer, right? And so the manufacturing process to take the cells of a patient, modify them, engineer them effectively, and then have, billions of them in order to reinfuse them back in the patient at the end. So it must be extremely sterile. This process is extremely manual. It's basically artisan, craftsmanship.
But can't you just like
both
stimulate?
Of our parents would attest to.
Can't you just like stimulate? So as the only person here apparently doesn't have a mom who's a biologist, nerd alert. Can't you just like make the cells split and reproduce? Like sprinkle some, sugar, whatever, cell powder on them.
Yes, effectively that's what you do. But in order to do that successfully, you need about 100 to 1,000 of individual unit operation tasks. that right now are made by people in bunny suits in clean rooms. So basically, the people trying to help the cells grow are also the biggest source of contamination because you're basically breathing contaminants, in front of these cells. So they're not dangerous to you. You are dangerous to them. And of course, you're inefficient. You know.
But like inefficiency and labor costs aren't actually the problem. It's that but the big problem is that like robots don't spit out germs.
It's one of the things. But just to give you numbers, a single cell therapy today, there are about 10 approved, is about $500,000.
That's actually surprisingly affordable
per dose per patient.
I mean, Ilia's just rolling in the cell therapy bucks.
No, but
he's just buying cell therapies here and there.
I mean, your average open heart surgery is like $750,000, right?
Well, sorry, when you say a cell therapy is $500,000, are you
the bag of your cells genetically engineered?
Sorry, I normally don't take my cells by the baggie. I'm like, is that enough of therapy to do the thing that I'm trying to do, or is that a dose of the therapy, or is that
typically
a month, or how does that work?
They're all a one-time dose because then because they are effectively your cells but modified. Most of them are engineered so that they actually stay in your body and then keep duplicating. So they stay around, and so you keep having a better
T-virus
immune system.
I have an important question, though. Do you forever then have to get a tattoo that says genetically modified organism, like all the food?
No, you just like wear a tag.
That would be very cool. That would be very cool.
Because I would willingly do that. Like just genetically modified organism.
Ilia is, I don't know if I made fun of him for this on the podcast before. Ilia is in fact a cyborg. He biohacked himself
I'm very
when he was like 20
transhumanist
and injected a magnet into his finger.
Yeah.
And I learned that this existed because we were doing an escape room together. And he started waving his finger over things to detect magnetic fields. And I thought there was some weird Jedi mind trick thing that he learned. And
it is useful for cheating at escape rooms and bar tricks. And basically that's
it. You must really be a big escape room fan.
I could say that
used it literally
3 times in my life.
Ones of times.
Single digits of times. I could say the very hipster thing of saying I got it done about 15 years ago before escape rooms were a thing. Then before it was cool.
Okay, so basically today the point of the robot is to do these kind of highly, I assume, repetitive tasks where there's a computer vision through a microscope sort of thing to figure out where you need to put the needle to shoot the sugar to whatever.
Actually, we are a little bit more of a macro level. So just to tell you, this is a retail price, $500,000, but the manufacturing cost is anywhere between $100,000 and $300,000 per dose.
Yeah.
About 60 to 7% of that is labor.
Yeah.
Labor.
Right? Yeah. Now, there's also a huge quality component, like you were saying, that the robot doesn't breathe, doesn't contaminate, and failure rates are very high. Nobody ever tells us how much you're screwing up with the manual process, and I can't ask you, hey, how bad is it right now? But we know that it is at levels that would be inconceivable in any traditional manufacturing industry, right? So, if you mess up more than 1% of your cars or chips, that would be crazy. What are you doing? It's way above that. So failure rates are high because of contamination.
Failure rates are in the 10, 20, 30, 50%.
Honestly, we never managed to get people to admit.
Not that you have asked, not that anyone has said anything that you've used to deduce.
Not that we've tried to guess.
But I would guess that is in the...
Very high. Basically, in any other industry, they would think you're crazy.
Yeah.
And now for these cells, there's really no other way. It's either these or the patient will not get it.
Yeah. So let's zoom out because we met in 2016, which is forever ago. In my head, it was like 6 months ago, but apparently it was closer to a decade.
Oh my god, crazy!
So in 2016, we were both going through Y Combinator, summer of 2016, and you You were doing weird things with robots and supplements.
So this was the narco subs?
No. Legal stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
I feel like the number of times you have to say legal in describing your business is a red flag.
I cannot tell you how many times people came to me with a, hey, Fred, what about customized trips? And I'm like, no. And so the idea is the intuition was similar that, medicine was going towards mass personalization.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to make a drug per patient or a drug per small set of patients, you need automation.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately,
and how do you make pills before that existed? Is it literally just
even today? Right now, pills today, you have a giant kind of a tableting machine or a filling machine.
Mm-hmm.
Technology from the 70s, if you're lucky,
Yep.
that is designed to churn out millions of identical fixed dosage tablets or pills. So there is zero personalization. So the intuition back in 2016 was, well, if medicine is becoming personalized, we should build a robot because without automation, it will never be possible to do it at scale, given the state of the technology. You can't do it by hand. You cannot ask a pharmacist to fill the capsules, right?
Yeah.
So a robot should do it so that you can get in a single pill all the drugs you need in the exact dosage.
Yeah.
Personalized. And of course, you check the weight. So the quality control is 100%, not just a random sample.
Yep.
So, and then, that was okay. It made sense in terms of, basically intuition. We just didn't realize that because people could make tablet in another way, they had no incentive to make a more expensive personalized drug when you can just give patients, all the same tablet. And honestly, it's a problem of the patient. So patients and doctors were very enthusiastic about getting personalized drugs.
And the manufacturers didn't give a shit.
The pharma companies, the insurers, they were like, we don't care. We have a very cheap way, 1 cent per tablet to make them. And it's the problem of the patient to not get...
turning into $1 per pill, but,
Cents per pill. It was like the standard was like a ridiculous... And that's why, generics manufacturers then can't even make it in the US. Because it's a race to the bottom where nobody was interested in the personalization aspect. While in cell therapy, there's no way to make 5 million cells. Like you need to make them one by one.
Let's think about it. Get cell therapy. So it was initially let's make customized pills.
Yes,
so that you can have personalized medicine.
Why supplements?
And but before we even get there, for customized pills, why would that be good? As someone who's like generally not in medicine. I mean, I can think of like old people who take 48 pills every day. So like for them, that makes sense. But why should anyone else who's not, 80 and takes, literally 10 pills a day, why should any of them care about having customized pills?
Yeah, it is surprising how many people need to take multiple medications, daily or weekly.
Do you have I know this is, several business models ago. Do you have a hand-wavy, vague recollection of how important, how frequent that is?
I have a recollection that above 50, it really skyrockets. And so it gets to 2 and then 3, right? And so on. And then, above, I think 70, we've seen very high averages. Yeah. And so
the higher the averages, the more complicated the cocktails, the lower
and you don't want to remember
the follow rate, the worse the healthcare outcomes.
Yes. They plummet. Oh, by the way, they never want to tell the doctor that they're not following the, prescription. Because that's the second problem. The first problem is remembering to follow all this. The second problem is sometimes the doctor gives you something and you get side effects. So you autonomously decide to discontinue and never tell the doctor. So the only way doctors told us they can check is by doing a blood test. Otherwise, they literally do not know what the patient is.
So like in robotics, when you do controls with no feedback.
Pretty much. Medicine today is a feed-forward exercise.
Yeah, open loop control.
Largely.
Yeah. Huh. So to build robots for custom pills, like what would the process from I have an idea of a robot to everyone builds the world of medicine is now using me exclusively for personalized medicine. Like what did you think that path looked like?
So the prescriptions are already being written, and doctors are very because doctors are already routinely writing multiple prescriptions for the same patient, right?
Yeah.
from the point of view of dosage personalization, there are some areas like some cardiovascular diseases where you start with as low as possible the dosage to avoid side effects, and you only increase it if, for example, your blood pressure is still high.
Sorry. So my question was, for you as a robotics founder.
Oh, yes.
You had an idea of a personalized pill. Yeah, a personalized pill manufacturing. There's a bunch of market reasons why there's demand for this. What did you think the path looked like?
Yeah.
From idea to every major pharmaceutical companies making all their pills.
So the demand is there, the technology is there because we built it.
Yeah.
And the problem was the business model. So I guess the connection between the two. Technically, a personalized combination drug is a new drug. And we are not a pharma company, so we need a pharma company.
So for every personalization, you might need FDA approval.
We thought that at least the FDA
Clearance.
could approve a bracket, like minimum, maximum dosage, everything in between.
But that's not a current
It has
structure
never been
exists.
done. And honestly, we never even got to FDA because no pharma company was interested in picking these up.
Because of the 1 cent per pill versus 3 cents.
Because they are interested in making new patented drugs. And most of these frequent prescriptions are generics. Nobody cares about the generics.
I mean, what if you'd entered a rapidly getting wealthier but still developing country, like in India or someone like that?
We have not seen that. We've seen that everybody follows the US.
Great.
So if it's not done in the US, it won't be done elsewhere. And for outsourced manufacturers, like generics companies, their only focus is as few cents per pill, which explains all the dramatic, outsourcing of supply chain and quality problems.
Yeah.
So the robots also would have brought manufacturing back to the US with high quality, but nobody cared. Oh, and by the way, even if we found a pharma company, you still needed the insurance company to pay a little bit more. Right? We're talking about dollars per day, so not thousands of dollars, right? But now they're paying cents per day, and they don't care that the patient, takes it or not, right?
I mean, they care, but it doesn't fit within their model.
Basically, what they wanted is they were like, it was chicken and egg. They were like, do you want to bring to the patient a personalized polypill? It's called like that. First, you need to show me that it will increase adherence. But how can I show increases adherence if they are not giving me a pilot?
So if you had $1 billion in 20 years.
Oh, yeah. I would buy a hospital. And then I actually have a game in the company where what would you do with $1 billion? And so I have many crazy ideas, but this is actually a good one. You buy a hospital and then you do all the things that you wish the system did for the patients. But now I am the boss, so I can tell you to actually do
General
it.
Catalyst, the VC firm, has done that.
Hopefully,
they've bought a hospital group. My hunch is they're going to rapidly learn how unimportant technology is in running a hospital, and how important just making sure your nurses show up on time and your doctors don't, whatever.
So technically, what they would need to do is doing more than they should buy a hospital and an insurance. They should buy like a Kaiser.
Just do a quick, small $70 billion acquisition. Like if you're going to waste your money buying Twitter, just buy Kaiser.
Yes. Yes. How more productive would have been buying Kaiser than buying Twitter?
So I would rather give Elon the keys to Twitter, to be clear. I feel like I'm a lot less worried when
apparently our Kaiser premiums went up 21% year over year.
I saw it.
You forwarded it to me.
But okay. So how long did it, as a founder, how long did it take you to make this realization and decide on this pivot? Like, walk me through. Was this overnight?
Pre-cell pivot. So
it took us.
There's the FDA concern, and then how do you show progress?
It took us.
How'd you come to the idea of showing progress that way?
We were basically working very closely with pharma manufacturers or pharma companies, try to work with them to basically push forward what we thought was the fastest possible approvable and largest possible market personalized combination. It took us about 2.5 years to realize that. Basically, there was this complete disconnect between the technology, it was possible, and the demand. It was there, complete disconnect. By then, cell therapies had been approved. And so the pharma companies were visiting us to see the capsules. And they were like, oh, this is very cool, but can you do the same for cells? So by then, demand had just skyrocketed. And so I had this board meeting, and the board was actually agreeing with me. They were like, well, it makes sense for us to do this, apply the same technology to cells.
Yeah.
because the demand is off the charts and it's very low on capsules. And
let's talk about your sojourn into supplements.
that was
when did that start in the grand scheme of things?
It was very naive. It was robotics people typically are terrified of a regulated environment like the FDA. And so
I mean, you did just say personalized pills aren't regulatory approval.
But I don't.
And your whole market was theoretically stopped by the idea of going regulatory.
It would be unfair to throw the FDA under the bus. The FDA is the least of the problem. In fact, the FDA is typically an ally, as usually the most data-driven of government agencies.
Mm-hmm.
So you can talk to scientists at the FDA, probably nowhere else in government. And so the problem for us was that we were so, I would say, hesitant to enter first a regulated environment that we were like, okay, personalized capsules, what is somewhere where we can apply the same technology minus regulation?
Mm-hmm.
And that was supplements. It was naive because in supplements, technology doesn't matter. It's all about how cool your Instagram or TikTok posts are.
It's the fashion industry.
Right? It's marketing. And as engineers, we are terrible. We really suck at marketing.
or just kind of like being cool.
See my shirt.
It took us 1 year to realize, and I hate it was soul crushing because you would build the robots and, oh my God, they're so precise and they can give you exactly the right dosage.
Yo, bro, here I am with my supplements, the Rhino Master, which has 14 grams of caffeine and 7 grams of tungsten, which my bro science says makes you more of a man.
But also, pretty much. Pretty much. And of course, there is a version of that for women, and then there is a version of that for biohackers. And all of them, it's not science-driven. It's basically belief-driven, right? I mean, these things are not even quality-controlled. You don't even know if your supplement is still active by the time you get it.
Or if it even has what it claims to have. To be clear.
Wait, when you say still active, you mean just like shelf decay or whatever?
It could have, expired. And so
it's a good case when it actually has what it claims to have, active or not.
Yes.
So it doesn't have real rhino tungsten?
That's right.
Well, maybe nobody ever checked, and honestly, the FDA is better, more pressing things to do than inspecting every single supplement manufacturer. It was just soul crushing for us. So I remember being so relieved to have to deal with the FDA. So to me, it was fresh air.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting thing in there about how it was based. The supplement industry is based on kind of being a cool Instagram person. And that is not what a roboticist is necessarily good at.
I mean, maybe these days with all the hype, but certainly not in 2016, 2017.
My hunch is it's the same. my hunch is if you're good at one, you're not good at the other. How was that? An immediately self-aware? Were you immediately self-aware of that disconnect, or was there some amount of self-delusion that led you to think you would become the cool Instagram bro influencer?
There was definitely self-delusion.
How'd you get over it? But when did it break?
I mean, it was very clear that we were terrible at it, right? And so, and also at first I didn't realize, but I really hated, tracking marketing matrix and stuff like that, and coming up with claims, but I didn't feel like competing on claims non-scientifically based. So it was just something that I kind of hated doing. And then we were just scared of the regulatory, and then we realized, wait a minute, what's regulated is an asset. Robots are way better at science-driven regulated stuff.
Yeah.
So we should go there.
And there's kind of better founder market fit with a robotics team needs to work with the FDA than a robotics team needs to work with an influencer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think there's an interesting thing there where especially in robotics, but I think in a lot of industries, consumer stuff is cool, and a lot of us nerds want to be cool and assume that being cool can't be that hard. If I build the robot, then I'll become an influencer and then I'll get babes. And it's amusing to and even that statement around tracking marketing metrics made you unhappy.
Yeah.
Because if this was the DocuSign podcast, that would be the ejection seat would kick you out of here.
But you know what's
Or
crazy?
this is all in or another stupid thing. Like that would just be like, you're out of here. You have no idea what you're talking about.
But you know what's the crazy part? Just by recently, we've tried, now we have very cool robots. And we've been more public with our videos and so on. And so without wanting to track, marketing metrics, now we have so much more engagement. But now we're being authentic. Right? I'm just saying what I would do anyways. And honestly, you can watch it or not. And people are like, oh, okay, these are very cool robots. And he's not just, wanted to be cool to be cool. For sure, though, I assume it wouldn't be that hard. And it was a very naive mistake.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, our producer and marketing person, and all the 48 titles that she has simultaneously and sequentially. One of her realizations that led to the podcast was kind of whatever marketing things you enjoy doing, like that should be what you focus on. Because if you enjoy doing it, you'll create better content, and you'll be more successful with it, which has become the podcast because me and Ilia like talking nonsense about robots.
Well, yeah, and the initial idea was that during lunch we would play the real version of the game we usually play at the start of the podcast of making up a robot.
Normally making fun of a company.
Yeah.
All right, so the market has started to pull you towards cell therapies. You have a robot that can squirt a little bit of this powder, to make a custom pill. But obviously, squirting powder or whatever version of that is real is different than go jumble around some cells and hit them with proteins and hit them with the Horns 20.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it became even more suited for the robots because it moved from a powder basically handling technology to a sterile liquid handling.
Oh, because the proteins are...
Everything must be in tubes and bags and vials because they can never contact the external atmosphere because that's risk of contamination. So everything must be a closed system. So it's basically...
So you're a pipette robot.
Pipetting is open. So pipetting would be easy.
Duh, Ilia. How come you didn't know that?
As our moms.
Yeah. It's okay. Don't make Stefan feel too bad. What has been the most surprising challenge in having robots deal with cell cultures?
Oh my God, there are so many. One thing is just how artisanal it is, meaning that biology is so hard. Like biology is hard. It's not like engineering. Biology is black magic or alien technology. Right? It is not 100% understood.
Yeah.
So typically, because you can't predict, right? You need to test 10,000 times. That's why a PhD in bio is 7 or 8 years. A PhD in software or mechanical engineering, 3-4 years, right? You're gonna do it, right? Mm-hmm. And so there are processes where there's only one scientist that knows how to do it, even though there is a log of maybe 200 pages of instructions, right? But still, that log doesn't capture the motion, the intuition. We don't even know if it's aware what the scientist has learned to do.
In terms of how they're putting...
how they shake the cells to resuspend them, how they tilt them,
That's why reproducibility in biological studies is always so suspect, right? Because it's it failed to reproduce. Oh, you just didn't culture it right.
And that sometimes there's a guy that retires, right? Or a scientist.
And the world goes back.
And then the yield goes down, even in a lab where apparently everybody is an MD, PhD. So not apparently, actually, so everybody is super qualified, but nobody has that skill, which is what we see in maybe Japanese sword making, right? Where if you want to learn to make it, you can't read a book. You need to go to the guy that has been doing it for 40 years. You do it for 5 years, and maybe you get the same implicit parameters, right? And so that was very surprising because bio to me was such an advanced space, but it's so hard that it has these very artisanal aspects.
And how do you handle that in robotics?
That's a very good question. So 90% of the tasks are actually very well characterized and reproducible. For the remaining 5 to 10%, right now we're doing a lot of learning from video demonstration because we can't ask them to describe it because sometimes they can't. We can't ask them to code because these are not coders. So we just ask
Could you
them.
ask them to teleop?
You can't ask them to teleop because a scientist would not be comfortable teleoping.
And you don't get the feedback, right?
Correct.
Try swirling a beer in teleop
So,
mode. You'll splash it easily.
Yes.
Maybe you will.
The best thing, and by the way, good luck getting authorization to putting a teleop rig into a clean room.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's just not something that goes into a clean room.
Why would a teleop rig be less acceptable than a robot?
It's just
How are you going to sterilize it?
a foreign.
Yeah.
Our robots are designed for clean rooms.
Yeah.
To be cleanable by aggressive agents, right? With all the procedures and qualifications and validation protocols. A teleop rig is just something. But in any case, even if you had it there, the scientists would not be able to use it.
They might not be as productive as they were before.
Not even close.
You might miss the magic. You don't even know if they're using the tactile feedback at that moment to decide, because it might not be explicit knowledge in their brain. So the best way we found is video demonstration, examples over example over examples, by working with some of the top companies, and this is data that it's very confident. It's not that you're gonna put on YouTube how you make cell therapies. It's a super controlled process. But if you get in return a robot that can actually decrease variability, then they're willing to do it. So we have these data that pretty much nobody else has.
But so I know the VLA stuff and the video demonstration stuff is really popular at the moment. Couldn't you instead just have the robot do the non-artisanal stuff, so that more lab workers and more people in the lab learn the artisanal stuff, so you no longer have the key man risk of the sole Japanese swordsmith?
Well, but the problem is that we're not talking about, like right now in a year, like this year, less than 10,000 or maybe just about 10,000 doses will be made worldwide, right? And so we're talking about going from 200.
Sorry, you said 10,000 doses?
Yes.
So there's no more than 1,000 people who work in these labs.
Correct. And the churn is super
and none
high.
of the labs have more than 50 people. So you're looking at like 20 labs and a marginal improvement of productivity on okay.
Those aren't even labs. Those are like FDA compliant facilities, and we've seen facilities with hundreds of people hiring 50 people a month or something. The churn is super high because
It's terrible work.
No,
I would blow my brains
these
out.
are very smart and very educated people.
It's very boring.
Nobody wants to be in a clean room, sometimes with a diaper, right? Because you can't go out
For 10 hours.
right? And by the way, you make one mistake.
I don't think flying a fighter jet would make me willing to wear a diaper. Let alone like doing repeat, pour the protein on.
And the real fun part about bio is it doesn't wait for you, right? So like if you need to feed the cells at 3 a.m, you're feeding the cells at 3 a.m.
No, you just send it an out of office email.
Out of office from your thing. Personal story on my end. There was a project that I had heard about where they were using robot arms to move cell cultures around, and the problem was the robot arms acceleration was so high that it would just crush the cells the instant it accelerated.
Whoa.
Like the G's was 10 or 20 G's at the time.
Typically, cells don't react to like gravity. It's too macro for them. They react to they're sensitive to shear forces.
Yeah.
So I think the amount of G's you would need to get the shear forces that kill the cells would be insane, like
Enormous.
centrifuge level. Yeah. and a robotic arm cannot move like that. But
They were using industrial arms. So they were using arms for whatever reason. They were using arms for car factories, and it would go from standstill to full speed in like 1,000th of a second.
oh my god.
It's like it would just crush everything immediately.
Yeah. But we use collaborative robotic arms, so it's safe.
A lot more safe.
The cells will never feel gravity or motion acceleration. But you need to be careful when there is a section restriction in a tube, because their shear goes up and it could kill the cell.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
Just tearing them apart, basically.
So basically, understanding that's not pipettes. It's robots that are taking fluid from a series of bags into each other and through a series of tubes.
And vials.
Do you actually have to aim stuff into a given cell under a microscope, or is there not a perception piece like that? Okay.
We use connectors.
Okay.
And if there is a microscope, we put a cassette inside of an instrument, and then the instrument does the pre-existing instrument, does the analysis. Because you can't change the process. If you change the process,
You have to change it. You have to redo approval.
approval, and most likely the cells are going to die because it's black magic and nobody knows.
I think you should get that on a company t-shirt. It's like, it's my magic and nobody knows.
I mean, these must be what engineering felt like in the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah.
Just like, I mixed these two rocks together, they caught fire. I use rocks from here, it works. I use rocks from this other quarry, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So does the end result end up looking just like a bag of cells? Is that actually what the product looks like? Like that goes into an IV or something?
So it's not red anymore because typically it's not the red blood cells that are modified. So those are, discarded or given back right away.
Yeah.
So it's a transparent bag with a transparent liquid, and typically it's frozen for shipping.
What percentage of the cells die when you freeze them?
You need to add a protecting agent that then is removed right after the thawing because it's toxic to the cells.
Because I assume that cells would die, but
they would all die.
And that's how the Olympics
crystals.
catch doping athletes, by the way.
What's that?
Some athletes will dope. Random story, but
Yeah.
some athletes will dope by taking out the red blood.
Talking about doping.
I know, right? They'll take out red blood and freeze it to preserve it over time. And then right before an event, they'll put it back in to get supercharged oxygen delivery. But they'll look for the trace elements of that specific preservative.
Oh my God.
Which is how they catch that kind of doping.
Honestly, it's not good for the cells, so I can't imagine it's good for you. So
Well, it only has to work for an hour.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like their event, and that's it.
What are other hard things with working in this environment? I mean, I guess like if you're operating in a clean room, you can't send engineers or technicians to your robot 6 times a day, and you can't have an engineer sitting next to it and moving a screw every couple minutes. So like how did you think about things like infrastructure, deployment stories, things like that?
yeah, I mean, everybody hates working in a clean room, including the engineers.
Yep.
And so that's a great motivation to have cloud-controlled
Yep.
robots. So we tend to have just one engineer per facility.
Okay.
In terms of
For a forward deployed engineer? Or?
pretty much.
Okay.
Like now they're called like that.
Yeah.
And so
That's a cool term these days.
Which, by the way, is cool that now there's a cool name for that.
Yeah. Instead of just like roboticist who has a bad life. Intern.
Dude who sleeps under desk.
We might need to go in a clean room, right?
Yeah.
And so we have a whole suite of tools, right?
Yep.
So we have cameras with constant recording,
Yep.
right? And then we can retry an action.
When did you start moving towards clean rooms? Was that 2020, 2018, 2022?
The moment we did, it was always clean room, but the moment we started doing cell therapy, so roughly 2018, 2019,
Okay.
that was when sterility became essential because capsules don't need to be sterile because you eat them and your stomach
Yeah, we'll solve
sterilize,
it.
right? Yeah.
So I guess what tools did you build that if you were starting from scratch today, you'd buy?
Do you mean robotics?
Anything,
Infrastructure.
software,
So like for example,
hardware,
you started
whatever.
this before Cruise, open source, what that
WebViz,
became
Foxglove.
that became Foxglove.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume you built something that looks a lot like Foxglove. You're pretty far along that path. Switching over to Foxglove would be hard. But like in terms of tooling and deployment story, which stuff did you build that was big, hard, and incredibly unsexy?
Big, yeah, well.
Or not unsexy, not core. Not core to eventual product, core to making your product kind of sort of work.
So something that we tried to build many times unsuccessfully, but I wish existed is auto calibration. Basically, so
You and
3D.
me and every other engineer.
I cannot understand why it doesn't exist off the shelf.
This is like that meme of like, what do I want? Auto calibration. Best I can do is AI for training data. Synthetic training data.
Like there are barcode readers, but there's not a 3D, and position and orientation, very, very precise. Now there are starting to be some, but actually we could never actually build it.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now we're still looking for it. Basically.
There you go. So, listener, if you sell that,
Yes.
get in touch. One more time, name of the company, your name, for listeners who are just tuning in again.
Oh, Multiply Labs, and my name is Fred.
And are you guys hiring? Are you deploying? What's a relevant action item that if you could hope anyone listens to this and does?
aside from selling calibration tools.
Yeah. or sending you bags of their cells.
No, please don't do that.
any bags will do. Fred Parietti, 123 Multiply Labs Avenue, San Francisco, California. Send your cells or your neighbor's cells, whatever cells you got.
Please don't. And so we are hiring right now. For us, we need to make dozens of these big robots optimized for clean rooms with like essentially 100 plus robotic arms inside on rails. So there is a lot of hardware, software engineers, forward deployed engineers, like we were saying, which is
the diaper core,
very important job. And
You're not helping, Stefan.
and the crazy part is manufacturing. Now we're also establishing a big supply chain.
Yeah.
And we have an international, very strong supply chain.
We were talking about that earlier. You were saying how easy manufacturing is these days. No problem at all. Every robotics company.
Yeah.
Once you solve your robotics problem, you should set up factories.
I hear you mine your own copper, spin your own wires, actually build your own motors. You got to be vertically integrated.
This is so common.
The best thing about my rocket company is we built building software.
So if you're listening to this,
Too close.
Keep in mind that building a vertically integrated robotics company implies needing 5 to 10 years and several $1 billion.
Yes.
Because you're going to need hundreds of thousands of square feet of manufacturing floor, and then hundreds, if not thousands, of people that are trained, and you can't find welders in San Francisco, right?
That attitude.
But even in the
I
US,
saw some guy in the street working with fire.
But it's surprising how naive it is. Oh yes, after we build the first one, it's very easy to make 100 or 1,000 of these advanced robots.
I mean, I think that like Tesla's no shit plan after the first Roadster was they hired a head of manufacturing and they're like, yeah, so you can make like 1 million of these next years, right? And the guy was like, what?
No.
And they at least they did it. SpaceX did it. Maybe Android did it. And what do they have in common? Infinite capital.
And time.
And time.
And to be clear, right? Like
over a decade.
SpaceX and Tesla are both on multiple decade roadmaps here.
And to be clear, this is not, a dig. That's what you need to be vertically integrated in cutting edge hardware. That's it. Either that or you're not going to make it. So we went the partnering way, of course. And so we just found the best partner, on the globe that can make, these robots on the very tight timelines that, the pharma companies we work with have.
Yeah, and they make like they'll make like a device at a time, or they'll make like 5. Like, I mean, this is a big, complicated system.
We can't have the luxury.
Yeah,
we need to make multiple of them at a time.
Huh.
Yeah.
So it means like a lot of people and a lot of square footage of manufacturing floor.
Yeah, and
it must be ready to be deployed in pharma. You don't want to weld to fix it in a clean room.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they get uppity if you bring a welding torch into the clean room.
With a guy covered, in like oil and like basically, like all the particles of metal,
I'm just imagining the bunny clean suit, but still has a dirty rag attached to him somewhere.
The quality department would just faint together.
Well, thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Amazing.
Thanks so much for joining. It looks like we're breaking our plan of doing the game at the end of the podcast.
I think we've run out of time, my friend.
This says ground penetrating radar to traffic management.
My bet is you turn it up to about 10 gigawatts, and if anybody breaks the rule, you just fry them. Speed, straight to gigawatt
I just know that
power.
when we were at CES and we were talking about ground penetrating radar, someone came up to us and said, it causes earthquakes. So you use enough ground penetrating radar, boom.
Listener, if you think about that, look about how much energy is released by an earthquake, and then how much energy the U.S. uses per year.
Nuclear powered GPR.
That's for traffic stops. 1 mile above the speed limit, vaporized.
With that, thanks so much for joining us. We'll promise to not make you wait another 2 months before another one of these episodes.
All right, hold Stefan to it. Email him at kai@polymathrobotics.com.